guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video. And today we're doing a rant review. All right. I am trying to get more into romance. Some romance books that I read just happen to fall flat. And this book that we're ranting about today is one of them. And that is The Siren by Tiffany Reisz. This is a smutty romance book about an editor named Zachary Easton who's very snobby, he's very uptight, he's very controlling. And he is tasked with editing an erotica novelist's newest book. And, you know, he's like kind of looked down at his nose at her because he's like, an erotica writer, if you say so, darling. Then you've got Nora, who is the erotica writer, and she is just a spitfire of charisma. She doesn't take any shit from anybody, and she's very deep into the BDSM community and all the shit that unfolds with her trying to break Zachary down and Zachary trying to control her and her book and everything like that. Not even for the book specifically, but just, you know, for the video, I would put out a genuine trigger warning for statutory rape and grooming. So if, you know, that's something that's going to bother you, I would not watch this video because that is genuinely what I'm ranting about today. However, if that doesn't bother you, then please feel free, because wow, am I genuinely disgusted. And honestly, I don't feel like that about a lot of books that I hate. I think I've only felt genuine disgust for like maybe one or two. Needful Things by Stephen King was definitely one of them, and this gave me a lot of flashbacks to that reading experience. For the trigger warning for the video, it would be those two, and then obviously for the book, I feel like it would be those two as well. This book was very reminiscent of my reading experience for Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I was good up until 65, maybe 70% mark. So we're just gonna be talking about how disappointing and genuinely grotesque I found this book. We're going to be listing the pros first because there are pros, but then we're going to get into the cons, which is the major part of the video. Also, before we start, what I want to put out there first is that if you are a fan of this book, I by no means mean any hate toward the author, no hate towards any fans of this book, all right? If you like this book, then who am I to tell you what to read, right? I'm just here to tell you my opinions and maybe warn a few folks. All right, so with that being said, let's just jump right the hell into it. So first off, we are going to address the pros because obviously there had to have been pros in order for me to have been so invested. Obviously from the synopsis that I gave y'all, Nora is a part of the BDSM community, and through Nora and, you know, what we find out about Nora and just throughout the book in general, we learn more and more about the BDSM community in and of itself. I don't think that 50 Shades of Grey is a good example of the BDSM community. I know that was a big complaint from the BDSM community about 50 Shades of Grey. So I think this was a very good, in-depth, I guess, dive into the community itself. Now, the other pro that I want to talk about is the age gaps. All right, I have a thing for age gap romances, I'm not gonna lie. And in here we do get older love interests in general. Like Nora, she's in her late 20s, early 30s. Zach's in his, I want to say early 40s. And, you know, everybody else that we meet is older. We're all adults here. And I think that's important, especially dealing with what we deal with in here. However, that leads into my problem with the book. Recall how I was just talking about, you know, how I'm a fan of age gap romances. I'm not a fan of this one at all. I'm disgusted with it, quite honestly. It is an age gap to an extreme. Nora, her ex-boyfriend is a man named Siren. He is like a priest, and he is a lot older than her. They've been together for like 13 years. She's basically under his thumb, right? She is not over him whatsoever. He still has so much control over her, and you look at it and it's like something went on here, right? And you learn that in fact Soren had met Nora when she came to his church when she was 15 years old. Now you're probably thinking, Emma, that's not so bad. They met when she was 15. Okay. However, he says in the book, I fell in love with you when you were 15.
I'm gonna let God fix it, because if I fix it, I'm going to jail.
Makes me have to swallow bile just thinking about it, all right? Because then, you know, the entire time, he's in his 30s, right? When he meets her at 15, okay? So it gets even worse, right? Because then he says something along the lines of, we met when you were 15. I fell in love with you when you were 15, and I kept you a virgin until you were 20 when you were ready. Like, I'm sorry, Nora, you're a victim. By astronomical standards, honeycomb. Granted, when I read that, I was like, oh, okay. So we're supposed to hate this guy, right? That's what I thought. That's what I was under the assumption that we as readers were being geared towards. We were supposed to not like Soren. No, it's just so disturbing to watch Nora portray these traits of a person who has so obviously been groomed for a majority of their life. And the entire time, the author, or at least the book, does not come off as, yeah, you should hate Soren. But instead, no, you feel bad that Nora left him. And that's not even the worst part. Soren gives her an anniversary gift at their BDSM club. 'Cause okay. And the anniversary gift turns out to be a 17-year-old boy. Now I know what you're thinking. Emma, 17 is still a minor. Not technically in New York City, which is where which is where the book is set, which, okay, I had to look it up because I was like, that's a minor. All right, sure. Okay, so 17 is technically the legal age. However, may I remind you that Nora is in her 30s and she's having sex with a newly turned 17-year-old. I get that it's legal, honeycomb, but that doesn't mean you should do it. You spent so much time thinking, I could do this, when in all reality, you should have been thinking whether you should have been able to be doing this. And then it gets worse. It gets worse. Because it turns out that that boy, Michael, is not 17, he's 15. And Soren lied to her about it. He was like, yeah, he's 17. And then later on in the book, after she's, had sex with the kid, then Soren is like, oh, haha, he's actually 15. Granted, Nora is mad, understandably so. But she's only mad for like 5 pages. And this book is like 425. She was not mad that she statutorily raped a child. She is mad that he lied to her. Granted, that is something to be mad about, but there's a bigger issue here, all right? Your priorities aren't matching up, honeycomb. They're not. And I need you to get it straight. You and I are mad about very different things. And it's never addressed again. In fact, you know what I read? The second book, the kid, Michael, the 15-year-old, take a wild guess. Take a wild guess at what he becomes. No, not a person in the witness protection program. He becomes her protege. He becomes her BDSM protege in the next book.
What? Hold up.
I hate it here. And that's not the only instance. Okay? We also have the fact that Nora lives in her townhome or wherever the hell she lives with a 19-year-old grad student who's in love with her. His name is Wesley. We love Wesley. She's playing with him, right? Granted, I understand Nora. it is fun to make somebody jealous. It is fun to have, somebody like you. However, to make somebody intentionally jealous, it's a dick move. And then to lead somebody on that you know is in love with you, that's also a dick move. Remember how I said she was a Spitfire? Yeah. Those are her Spitfire moves. She loves to play with boys. Not only Wesley, but her editor, Zach. Nora and him are like having the outs and everything like that. And they have sex a couple times. Nora is leading Wesley and Zach on strings. And when it finally blows up, because she has to go have sex with Zach for whatever reason, meanwhile, Wesley was going to take her on a date. Wesley is still there, like, holy shit, you forgot our date. And then she's like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. And then Wesley gets mad, right? Understandably. And so he leaves. And then she's like, oh my gosh, who would have thunk that this would have happened?
You better talk to her before I do, because I'm hurt her feelings. That's up.
I wanted to throttle every single character in this book because they were all either obnoxious, disgusting, or just stupid. I don't know what to say other than, yeah, I gave this bitch 1 star. And I am thoroughly not only disappointed, but revolted. I had to put the book down a couple times in order to stop myself from actually puking my guts out. So yes, this is a gag-worthy book, and I just want to know why we're willingly catching cases now. I'm sorry, this is why age gap romances get such a bad name. It's because of shit like this. I quite frankly don't ever want to see this book in my life again. Honestly, if I saw this book in my afterlife, it would be too soon. I have nothing left to say. If you're a fan of this book, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you from reading what you want, because at the end of the day, you're gonna read what you want. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you'll stay away from this book, or at least you'll take a warning if you still want to read it. However, my opinion of it stands, right? So with that being said, you guys, I hope I'll see you in the next video. I hope that you're staying safe, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.